Okay, I'm going to talk about employee engagement and how to use the influencer model and sort of tools around it, and it's kind of more model-y than it is insight-y. So let me jump into it. I want to start with employee engagement. Employee engagement is the issue that I want to talk about because I'm working with a client who has a huge trouble with employee engagement, and I'll get to the client in a second. As we try to operationalize it, say, what does this mean? We tried to look at behavioral indicators. Attendance was a big deal. People don't come to work on Mondays, they don't come to work on Fridays, they don't come to work on sunny days, they don't come to work on days before or after holidays. Okay, a problem. Okay? And then they don't come back at all. They hire a police officer to sort of be around on the night shift, and 3 people vanish so quickly they don't even bother to take their vehicles out of the parking lot. After 3 weeks, they tow the vehicles. They're gone, right? Okay, but beyond that, they also want discretionary effort, constructive contributions. They want people to say, this is a great place to work. They want them to recruit their friends and come to work here. How many of you want that in your company? How many of you are known in your community as the House of Pain? This is an organization that is known in their community as the House of Pain. What they do in the House of Pain is they process chickens, the kind of chickens we've been eating the last few days. 130,000 chickens a day. That's the environment. I find it a wonderful laboratory to understand the difference between working at Facebook and Google versus working at the House of Pain. It helps you understand employee engagement if you look at 2 ends of the continuum. So I want to walk you through sort of the thought process that I've been trying to struggle with. And at the end, I want you to have a tool that you can use and that you can help me perfect. All right, so I start with basic social learning theory. I say, why do people go to work? Why are people engaged in their work? And I'll say 2 reasons, because I follow Al Bandura, is outcome expectations, like I believe this job can lead to outcomes I care about. If you don't have those positive outcome expectations, you're dead. Second, efficacy expectations or efficacy beliefs that I believe I can achieve these outcomes. Now, at Vital Smarts, we would look at this as, okay, if I come to work, I get paid, and if I achieve these outcomes, I can achieve these outcomes, and I'm able to do this. I can come to work. Now, that's just looking at motivation and ability. Now, you know that at Vital Smarts, we try to break it into 6 sources, so let's walk through the 6 sources. If it's something as simple as attendance, it's come to work, okay? The problems they face are people saying, I hate my job, and there are more fun things to do today, okay? Personal motivation. A personal ability is things like my car wouldn't start, my child is sick, I don't have an option, I don't have another way to do it, all right? At the social motivation level, my family doesn't think I should work here. They think it's degrading, okay? And I hate my boss, okay? Pretty good, right? At the social ability side, there are no backup people for transportation or childcare. In fact, they didn't have backup people for people to go to the bathroom. Okay? So it's pretty unpleasant. And by the way, my spouse got a job, so I don't need to work at the House of Pain. Right? Or down at the structural motivation side, I got just enough pay to cause me to lose my food stamps, and now I can't afford childcare, and so I'm actually better off if I don't work. Right? Or finally, the plant's too far from where I live, and by the way, I'm working in a refrigerator. They keep it in the mid-40s because, hey, we're dealing with fresh meat. So this is all 6-source model where we're not looking at engagement. We're simply looking at attendance, come to work. So let me now go to engagement, and this is where the big idea starts to come in. What is there more than attendance to engagement? And I want to look at valued outcomes beyond pay. So the intrinsic motivators of work. And in my experience, I think there are 4. So these are the valued outcomes if we talk about outcome expectations. One of them is task or profession. And let me do the high and low. I love my tasks here at Vital Smarts. I love standing on the stage here and sort of doing my thing. I love sitting down and trying to write answers to people's tough Q&A questions, right? I love those parts of my work. At the House of Pain, people don't love their work. They find it painful, right? Their fingers get frozen. They get early arthritis. And it takes 4 weeks to harden your muscles into the job. Okay? So that's looking at task and profession, high and low. A second reason to come to work is because it's an opportunity for development and personal growth. I feel like every time I go to a new client, a whole new window of opportunity opens up for me for learning and new opportunities. Joseph comes to me and says, I've got this idea. The BS guys, what do you think? It's like, wow. I mean, it's a place I want to have my career because there's so many cool developmental opportunities. At the House of Pain, the main developmental opportunity is the first 4 weeks when you're trying to overcome excruciating pain. Once you've done that, there is a chance that you could get promoted to day shift from night shift, right? And there's a remote chance you could get moved up into a supervisor role, but it's pretty darn remote. Okay, so tough there. Another reason you come to work is because you think you can have an impact on the world. Okay, I feel like, wow, people stop me and say, they use the stuff that we do. I mean, that's pretty amazing. How many people have jobs where people say, I actually benefit from the stuff you actually did? Okay? At the House of Pain, you could imagine that. One of their huge customers is really well known throughout the country, except they buy through a broker. So they don't actually, the customer doesn't actually know they're buying from the House of Pain. They think they're buying just a commodity from a broker. So it's hard to make that link. And then finally, I look at the organization and the team and say, I come to work because I'm part of a winning team. I get to work with my best friends in the entire world, and it feels like family. Okay, why wouldn't you love that, right? And at the House of Pain, there is some of that, and it's an area that we really want to focus and build more, right? So if we look at these areas, I'm going to argue that task, profession, and development and personal growth all fit under personal motivation, if you're looking at a six-source model, and that organization and team and customers and impact on the world fit under social motivation. And let me try and put this dive into these in a little bit more detail. So personal motivation, one of these is tasks and profession. It's the satisfaction in the activities that make up your profession or your job. You love what you do, right? Now, for me, it's helpful to look at the low end and then the high end. So at the low end, I want you to think about your own job and the jobs of the people you're trying to impact in your organization. What parts of their jobs are uncomfortable, painful, at risk, noxious, right? Which of the tasks are repetitive, exhausting, unpleasant? Which of the tasks show little autonomy, little control, right? Here's a story they tell at the House of Pain. We bring in people who've worked fast food or retail, and they talk to us about how they're able to work really fast. Like imagine a fast food store, when you're inundated with customers, you work like a crazed person. But then that rush ends, and you have a chance to reflect, to plan, to organize, and then the rush happens again. At the House of Pain, it's continual. The assembly line comes by and it never stops. You're elbow to elbow with other people cutting chickens, and you feel like a robot. You have zero control, right? This is unpleasant. Most of us have a part of our day's work that feels like that. Think about how you could eliminate that and instead replace it with areas where people feel ownership, where they feel like what they're doing is a craft, like that they'd sign their signature to the product they're creating, that they put themselves in the work, they feel like they're part of the work, they identify themselves to their friends and neighbors. They say, I'm an engineer, okay? I'm a psychologist, I'm a consultant, I'm a pirate, I don't know. Instead of saying, I work at the House of Pain, right? And they take pride in describing what they do. Okay, that's task and profession. If you look at development and personal growth, at the low end, it's things like, I'm feeling taken advantage of every time I come to work. My job is degrading and humiliating. That's how I feel about what I do every day. I feel stuck, it's dead end, I can't get ahead. I'm just looking for other things to do. Versus at the high end, you think about parts of our work where we feel like we're being groomed, we're being coached, we're getting honest, frank, helpful, loving feedback. We believe we have a career. We think we can achieve aspirations. We think we're learning, right? And that the organization cares about us. Okay? Very different. At the social motivation part, I think of initially customers, the make the world a better place sort of phenomenon. Is it that in your organization you believe your product's inferior, right? Do you have contempt for your customers? They're all suckers, right? Are you cynical about your work? Do you see it like what we're here to do is take advantage of our customers? There are companies out there, organizations out there where that's the ethic. In those organizations, you don't see much pride or commitment or engagement based on this particular source, the outcome to customers. Instead, you want to take pride in the quality, have frequent positive interactions with customers. The more frequent you can make them, the more visible, the more real, face-to-face kind of contact, the better. If you can get people to believe that their work makes a positive impact in people's lives, they're going to be committed. Okay? Now, if we go to the final area here, organization and the team, their relationships, their team, their organization, are they a band of brothers and sisters? At the low end, they feel rejected, betrayed, right? Not accepted. They don't feel like they can trust other people. They're in competition with other people. They're angry. They feel resentful of the other people around them, or they believe they work for a loser organization. I think in my mind of this, when I went to college, I was at Haverford outside Philadelphia, which is a men's college, and it's next door to a girls' college. I had a close friend at the women's college, Bryn Mawr, and she described what happened the first day of freshman class. The whole student body of all the freshmen got together. They're together, and the president of the university comes out and says, I want to begin with a round of applause to our admissions department because they've never made a mistake. See how that feels? A little different from look to your left, look to your right. One of you isn't going to be here next year, right? It's saying, we accept you. You're good. You make the grade, right? We're here to help you succeed. You're part of our team, right? We don't have that feeling yet at the House of Pain. At Vital Smarts, I think we have a fair amount of this. Feel trusted, respected, and trust and respect others. Feel like others are willing to support us, that we have best friends there, and that we're working for a winning team, right? Now, if you put this together, my argument is that in order to have engagement, you've got to have people connect to at least one of these outcomes, preferably all of them. The more connections, the better, and the more certain and the more positive the connections, the better, right? So that's kind of what we're looking for. If we put this into the 6-source model, we'd say connect to task and connect to development, that's source 1. Now we've got lots of ideas now, right? You want to come up with 2 or 3 ideas to remove pain around connect to the task, or inject more control and autonomy, and then 2 or 3 ideas to build on the positive side. Connect to development, the same. Remove the negative, add to the positive. Around the social motivation, it's connect to the customer, connect to the team. How do you remove the obstacles and build more positive? These are the intrinsic motivators. The extrinsic motivators are connect to pay and connect to what money can buy. And let me talk a little about that with the House of Pain. At the House of Pain, you ask people, why do you work here? And they say, for the money. You say, that's cool. What do you do with the money? They say, well, pay off last week's payday loan. Oh, what else? If you don't have a payday loan, what do you do? Well, we get paid on Friday. I usually spend it Friday night. If not Friday night, by Saturday. Okay? Very short-term goals. You sit down with them and say, could you imagine saving your money and taking a vacation, you and your spouse? Well, that'd be nice. How about buying a car? We're one of the biggest employers in town. We've got a few used car dealers in town. We can do a deal with them where I bet in 6 months, you could save up enough money to have a car, a nice car. Have you ever thought of owning a home? Right? We could help you. Right? See what we're doing here? We're trying to say, okay, it's extrinsic motivations, but we want them to think of extrinsic long-term goals, not short-term goals. And we want to help them plan and save because they're on our team. We want them on our team. They belong on our team. Right? And you start to build intrinsic as well as extrinsic. So those are the kinds of things we're doing around the extrinsic motivators. Now, so far, I've only talked around motivation. So let me talk about ability a little bit. Efficacy beliefs. You'll only stay engaged if you're confident in your ability to achieve these goals we've talked about. And we look at ability, 3 levels: personal, social, and structural. The personal level, we're thinking it's the individual's ability to influence the team, their boss, the people around them, and their ability to achieve these outcomes. Do they feel the personal efficacy and the efficacy to influence the people around them? By social ability, we're thinking more the collective efficacy, the efficacy of the team. What can the group do together? And finally, the structural efficacy, the capability of the systems, the tools, the organization itself. So if we add these to our model, ability to influence the team and accomplish goals, help the team, collective ability of the team, and capability of the organization, systems, tools, and methods. Now, here's what we're trying to do with this idea. Okay, what you see is a bunch of spaghetti we've thrown against the wall. Now we want to go into each one of these, and we want to identify 5 to 10 robust, concrete strategies that can make a difference, and compile them together into a playbook of plays that the House of Pain and its brother and sister factories all around the country could employ to try to build employee engagement. Let me just give an example. Connect to task. Okay, right now they're really low in terms of enjoyment of this job. And the thing they hate the most is the inability to take bathroom breaks. Can you imagine asking your boss, is it okay if I go to the bathroom, and have your boss say no? How demeaning is that, right? This is horrible. And yet the managers say, well, what are we supposed to do? The guy's already taken 3 bathroom breaks. You say, oh, well, I wasn't meaning the guy, I was meaning the pregnant woman over there. Right? Yeah, well, what can I say? You know, it's not her turn. Some guys pull it out and wee on the line. Yeah, well, not on the chickens, usually on their neighbor's shoes, which cause other social team problems. Okay, so we had them do some positive deviant interviews and visits. They went to other plants to see, does anyone solve this problem? So they go in, they have a whole list of problems they're trying to solve. And they go into one and they say, oh, we've solved the bathroom thing. Seriously? What do you do? Well, we have a person who's fully cross-trained. We pay them 75 cents an hour more, and we call them a utility worker. Say, how does that solve anything? Oh, their job is to substitute for people all day long as they go to the bathroom. And they time them. They got 10 minutes to go to the bathroom and come back, which means they've even got time for a quick smoke maybe, right? So 10 minutes, and all day long, all they do is rotate. That way the line never slows down, and people always have as many bathroom breaks as they want. They heard that, they came back, and within 3 days, they implemented that strategy. Okay? That's the kind of thing we're looking for. Once you have an idea of here are the things we need to change to build employee engagement, then you have to go out and find who's answered that. Are there answers within your firm, in your sister firms? What can you do, right? So that's my big idea. I'm hoping these slides could be helpful to you as you brainstorm solutions for this kind of problem, but my one ask for you is to think about this with your own job. When you go home tonight or tomorrow, try to go through each of the sources of influence and each of these areas, the task. What are the aspects of the task that you don't like? And how could you change those to aspects you do like, where you own the task, have greater autonomy and authority and identity and pride? And ask yourself those questions with each of those areas. I think you can improve your own engagement at your own jobs. Thank you so much.